What's up, y'all? Good night, Irene. How's everybody doing here? Now, I can't do a DOS impression. DOS talks too normally to be able to do an impression. Doesn't work that way. What do you think, Sasha? Can you do an impression? Oh. Oh, alright. The automaton sounds exactly like DOS? Oh, okay.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Jimbo! We have a lot of links. There's a lot of links. A lot of stuff. What, an atomic tone? Dude, that's right, Merkers. I see the Mad Ford emotes. Mick had a raid there. Paying it forward, man. Dude, that freaking Land Rover, man, was freaking money. That was awesome. All right, here. Ready? Finally, you tune the guitar. Am I reading this correctly that Skyrora is developing a 23-meter diameter rocket? Complains about the deadline and needing to switch to Space News, proceeds to play the guitar. What if I don't want to do Space News today? Alright, fine. We won't play the guitar. Screw it. Screw it. And screw you. Screw you too, Chet. Call the cops. I'm gonna ban you and your loud, emote blaring dogs. When the cops came through me, and Chet stood next to a burned down house. What? Who? Who did what to who? You did what? Then who are you and what have you done with the real EJ? Alright, we do need to go quick. We have double launches to do today. So we need to go fast. Do what more like. Let me just get this all organized. I want to blaze through this quick. That needs to go there. A lot of SLS news today, believe it or not. Okay. All right. Let me change the directory. If all the hippies cut off all their hair, dude, I don't care. I don't care. Dig. All right, so do you hear that, chat? Do you hear that? Do you know what? I bet you can't guess. Bet you can't guess what part of the Russian news, what part of the news is happening. I already said it. I ruined it. Angle, wie geht's? All right, let's go. BeamNG Lada mod when? Dude, there is a huge Lada mod for BeamNG. I have a Lada Niva that has a 13B in it with like 1,000 horsepower. The wheelbase is so close to each other, when you step on the gas, it just goes in circles. What's up, Doom? How you doing, man? Thanks again for the shirts, dude. Brimo was like, somebody got something for me? I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. I have a Lada 2102 with a small block Chevy in it, dude. It hauls. It goes like 180 miles an hour. Miles an hour, not kilometers an hour. It's death. Yeah, don't turn the wheel. One last link to add. The tower is started. Dude, I don't even have, in this array of links here, I do not even have Starship stuff. Man, they're going fast. Holy crap. Okay, all right. No, don't show images of this glorious beast. I always feel sad when seeing them. Oh. Well, today, comrade, you are in good luck, okay? All right, let's see. So this is the big news here. This one's coming out of Russia, but check this out. Molina, MPO Molina, which is a Russian design bureau, or a state-owned Russian like aerospace contractor. Molina is the Russian word for lightning. Is working on a shuttle. And everybody posts pictures of Buran, but it's not as big as Buran, but they are working on a shuttle. Then here's more SLS. Oh, jeez. Okay, I got it. So, here, let me just make sure that there's nothing else in here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, so NPO Molina will create a new aerospace plane that will go into space within the next 5 years. A model of the ship on real scale was presented in a closed pavilion at the Army 2020 Forum. Radio host and expert in the space industry, Dmitry Konyanikin, shared his impressions of the sensational news with Zernalishskaya Pravda. The creation of the announced aerospace plane is a development of the prod. Yeah, the translation screwed up. Okay. All right. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I think they've started. They started the project and it was created by these guys, designers. The shuttle is missing from the Atlantis stack at KSC. Now we know where it went. Yes. So baby Buran. Yeah, well, here, I'll get into it a little bit more. Molina appeared 45 years ago just for the implementation of winged space, as I call it, including the creation of the Buran, the Soviet space shuttle. Later in the 1980s, a multifunctional aerospace system was developed from the back of the huge Antonov 225 aircraft, which is known as the Ukrainian Mira. A small shuttle powered by hydrogen-oxygen engines was to be launched into space. Oh, MAKS. That was them too. The news about the aerospace ship is a sensation. I think it can already be discussed. I had insights from people who work on this topic that cannot give any comments because they sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, which shows the seriousness of the work. In 2014, NPO Molina actually ceased to exist. The great enterprise was ruined, brought to bankruptcy. Only in 2018, Rostec had a hand in ending the bankruptcy. So when they nationalized the space industry, they brought it back. The unique team that developed the Burana or the space planes Bor BOR-4, those are test prototypes for the Buran. An unmanned orbital rocket plane must implement a new aerospace vehicle in 5 years. In the next 2 years, the number of NPO Molina jobs will increase by 800 people. New specialists will come onto the enterprise. Olga Sokolova breathes optimism. A very good interview came out. Interesting. There was a full-size model of the ship presented at the Army 2020 forum. And it can be, here we go. It can be assumed that the space plane will be smaller than Buran, since today there are no such carriers that could carry something that big. They don't have a big enough rocket to build a big shuttle like that. Energia is not a thing. I think the space plane will be smaller than the multifunctional aerospace system. From what plane it will be launched, or from what launch vehicle it'll fly on, is difficult to say. Perhaps the Ruslan will be finished. It's more lifting. I will irresponsibly assume that it'll still be an AN-124. Wait, is it going to launch off the back of an Antonov? Buran never failed, Jack, as far as I know. This sounds like a strategic capability response, Kem. Honestly, this sounds like yeah, it sounds like an X-37. Except launching from the plane part is a little bit weird, but still cool. The Chinese are, of course, trying to do something very similar to trying to match capability as well. They had some test X-37 a little while ago. Interesting. Okay. In case you're wondering, they said it was based off a spiral. So the spiral space plane, or the MiG-105, looks like that. If the design looks similar to Dream Chaser, it's because it is. Yeah. Best shoe. It does look like a shoe, doesn't it? Interesting. Oh, that Misasha chef back there, though. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. And then there's a Tu-95 behind that MiG. Cool. So they're making a new shuttle based off of Buran. It's not based off of Buran. It's based off of the Spiral program. The Spiral... Here, I'll show you. Look, the Spiral program was mock-ups for the Buran program. There was one of them. There's another one. Bor 5, I don't need to tell you what that's a model of. And then there's Bor 6. So, the Russians didn't know. This goes back a little bit further back. The Spiral program, right, in the MiG-105, okay? Quick history lesson, real quick, because we have a lot of space news. The Spiral program is
came out of the response for the Buran program because they weren't exactly sure. They weren't exactly sure what the space shuttle was supposed to do. The Soviets may or may not have assumed, and once again, I don't know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. The Soviets, I think, assumed that the thing was going to carry nukes, and that the U.S. was going to use the shuttle as a bomber, as a nuclear bomber. So what they did was, the reason why some of those looked like Dream Chaser, and some of them looked like Buran, is because what the Soviet Union had basically planned on doing is make a bunch of re-entry vehicles with nukes on board that were shaped like Dream Chasers and put them in the payload bay of a Buran. And, well, here, look. Yeah. Yeah, full-scale model, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this was what the space shuttle was supposed to do, but then again, I wouldn't put it past us doing something like this with the space shuttle, I'll be honest. Yeah. Cluster bomb nukes from a space shuttle on orbit. Yeah. Like, I'll be real with you. I don't know. I don't know if that's like, okay, they built that and they said it was, and the Soviets built that and they said it was a strategic response to the US. When I say I don't know, I mean, did we give them false plans or something, or did they find what we were really going to do with the space shuttle, right? And build a strategic capable response? Like, I don't know which one it is. On one hand, I've never seen anything even remotely resembling this with the space shuttle ever. But also at the same time, if there was something like this out there with the space shuttle, they wouldn't tell us, you know? Like, you know, it's kind of like, you know. But see, on the other hand, flipping back, going back to another thing, that thing right there, the MiG-105 and the Spiral program look a lot like the HL-20, right? See, something weird happened here. Interesting, Thomas. Yeah, I see it. It was not only for military use. They had plans for station building and moving parts back to the ground. Therefore, they wanted to make 4 launches per year. Interesting. It's, yeah, something is a little sus with that whole thing. Not from you or us. It's just that whole thing doesn't really make a lot of sense. So obviously, we're not being told something. Maybe the Air Force required it and then didn't use it. They would never do something like that. See what I'm saying, Histo? Like, I don't know which one it is. Maybe we fed them false plans, or maybe they figured it out, right? And actually were like, okay, we need to build that because, yeah, we need to match capability. See what I'm talking about? So, like, I don't honestly know which one. You know, like, I wouldn't throw it past it. Anyway, let's keep going. A little sus right there. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the design bureau that made Bor 4 and Bor 5, which were the sub-scale demonstrators for the Buran program. So they have a lot of experience with building shuttles, which is cool. NPO Molina.
Go and throttle up.
If it had a U.S. counterpart, the counterpart would be Sierra Nevada. Like, yeah, that's the counterpart. Crossing Marco, 7-month resub. Thank you. Let's just say it's a cool design. Maybe they could use that for personal return vehicles. Well, that's what they wanted to do, Airborne. I want to be very clear that the shuttle deploying smaller planes is not what they plan to do. They don't have a rocket big enough to move all that into space. Yet. But yeah, no, I don't think they're ever going to go back to a big shuttle like that. I don't think anybody is ever going to go back to a big shuttle unless these guys prove that it's a good idea. Oh, that's a cool plane, Thomas. False plans, sure. I mean, I don't know, PY. That's why I'm saying it could be one thing, could be another thing, could have been false plans, but see, like, dude, I'm not saying that that's what happened. Like, I'm saying it could be either one. Because the space shuttle, the DoD was super involved with the space shuttle. So it's very likely, I'd say it's equally as likely that the Soviets got the plans. KGB got the plans, no doubt. And they built it as a strategic response, right? Because, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not sure how the intelligence stuff works. That's not really my department. Like, intelligence community, I generally deal with intelligence like this one up here. I'm smart. I'm smarted. So, yeah, it could be either one, dude. Yeah, airborne, I mean, you could. Mm-hmm. You had something like that in KSP? Yep. Gleb Evgenievich Lazinsky was a single person, and he was the lead developer for Spiral and Buran. Interesting. Oh, okay, Jack. I'll read about it later. Let me go find it. In what situation would a shuttle capable of landing on the moon is a good idea? Oh, Force, do you smell burnt toast by any means? Like, smell burnt toast? Let's be honest, I'd rather have a life raft for each person on board than have one lifeboat and they all fight to get off. I'm being honest. No. I have a craving for chocolate milk. Okay. Hey, Rocket Guy, what's up? Alright. So, next news. Let's keep going. The Kelgis Center expects to conduct flights of ion engines in 2025 to 2030. The research center, named after MV Keldysh, part of the Roscosmos State Corporation, expects to conduct flights with ion engines in 2025 to 2030. This was reported to TASS in the press by the Public Affairs Office, basically. Active work on electric propulsion was carried out in the USSR since the beginning of the 1980s. It has been used in spacecraft and is currently using stationary plasma thrusters manufactured by OKB Fakel in order to correct the orbit of satellites. Now the development of ion engines is also being carried out by the Chemical Automation Design Bureau in cooperation with the Moscow Aviation Institute. Currently, 3 types of ion thrusters are in operation in the world, with a DC discharge power 450 to 3,500 watts, with a high-frequency radio frequency discharge and ultra-wide high-frequency discharge up to 750 watts. At present, Russia is also developing spacecraft with a nuclear power plant where the energy generated by the nuclear reactor is the source of energy for ionizing and accelerating the ions of working fluid. Yeah, that's cool. Pretty neat. Right there, what you're looking at, guys, is a live test of an ion thruster. That is solar electric propulsion. Or just electric propulsion, you should say. These guys are involved with the nuclear tug. They also showed their work in the same place with the shuttle at Army 2020. Jeez. Huh. Fakel is torch. Cool. Do they mention any kind of thrust numbers? They'll be quite low. How does that differ from what Electron uses? So Electron uses a semi-cryogenic bipropellant. So liquid fuel, the liquid fuel is kerosene, right? And the oxidizer is liquid oxygen. The reason why Electron has the electric namesake is because of the Rutherford engines. The Rutherford engines have a motor that turns the fuel pumps, an electric motor, as opposed to a turbo pump. Yeah, so, yeah, it's very different than Electron, very different. Hall effect thrusters and ion thrusters don't really make a lot of thrust. Seriously, like, if you have a desk fan that you need to use in the summer, it makes, like, maybe a 16th of thrust of, like, a desk fan. It's not a lot. But they're ultra efficient. They're very, very efficient. So the thing about Hall effect thrusters is that they're only limited by how much power you have. Up in space, right, if you just have solar panels, anybody that knows a little bit about how electrical power is generated knows that a solar panel is not really good if you need a lot of power really fast. And usually rocket engines do need a lot of power, a lot of energy expended. Cool. All right, next article. What do we got? So, Kem, you posted this one. What do you got here? Decision on the construction of the third launch pad at Vostochny will be determined in April. The point is that we are at a crossroads, and the decision will be adopted in the coming weeks," said Rogozin Sama. All right, this is coming from TASS here. Let's see what we got. All right. Kosmodrom Vostochny, March 24th. The final decision on the construction mechanism of the third stage of the Vostochny Cosmodrome in the Amur region should be made in April of this year, Dmitry Rogozin, the head of Roscosmos, said. He told reporters on Wednesday during a trip to the Amur region. "The fact is that we are at a fork in the road, the decision on which has not been made yet. I hope the decision on the third stage will be made in the coming weeks, leading our engineers on the subject of what is a possible option A, B, or C. These different combinations of forces means of space systems to ensure the main task." He stressed that he's counting on the support of the federal government. "Let's wait. Count how long there is. 2.5 weeks. Just 2 weeks, bro. All right. And we will have a decision with you that will guide Roscosmos and the government. I hope will support us." Interesting. Marat Sakir-Zyanovich is aware of what is needed and what will be required in the case of building another launch site. Dmitry said that the Vostochny Cosmodrome will always develop since each rocket requires its own launch complex. The first stage of the Vostochny Cosmodrome includes a launch complex for medium-sized rocket of the Soyuz 2 series and the technical complex for the carrier rockets for Soyuz rockets. They basically build the VAB and the launch site. 6 launches have been carried out using the infrastructure built to the extent of the launch minimum. The second stage of the Cosmodrome involves the construction of a launch pad for Angara. That's currently under construction right now. And construction was started on that in June of 2019. I think they're waiting on a decision on which rocket, the NSA or Soyuz 5. He also mentioned that he wants to make universal pads that can be used by multiple rockets. It's a good idea. Oh, force. Soyuz 5 will only fly from Baikonur and sea launch. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Next news. This is coming from Katya Pavlichenko. Let's see. Interesting moments of the Soyuz MS-18 crew press conference. Oleg Novitsky will presumably participate in 3 EVAs to integrate the Nauka module, and Peter Dubrov, who will stay on the ISS longer and probably will also help to integrate Prichal, the docking module for Nauka, can participate in 7 EVAs. So this is the prime crew for MS-18, and that's the backup crew right there. So this is Oleg Novitsky, Peter Dubrov, and Mark Van Hey. And then you have Anton Shkeplerov, he's been to space multiple times. He's a Russian fighter pilot. I forget his name, and then that's Anne McClain. Anne's already been up to the space station. She's an attack helicopter pilot. Yeah, she flew an OIF. Yeah. Kiowas, if I remember correctly. So Anne flies the helicopter that goes and lasers targets for Apache helicopters. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. She basically has a wallet that says Bad Mother Trucker on it. Yeah. It's pretty cool. They're working on an old Zenith pad to configure it for a new rocket. Hey Vulcan, what's up? How are you doing? I'm still dead tired since I got up to watch Starlink. Yeah, me too. Yeah, the ion thruster is grossly overpowered. Yep. OH-58s. Yeah, the Kiowa. So, the Kiowa was designed to get up close and personal with enemies here. Here's a picture of one. It's designed to get, like, really up close. Let me just put it to you like this. You see this thing? See this little narwhal thing coming off the front? Does anybody know what that's for? The guy right there is the second cosmonaut. Oh, it's Oleg Artemyev. Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, this thing right here is a wire cutter. That should tell you everything you need to know about how up close and personal this gets. The Kiowa has to fly low, and it has to laze targets with this thing. The reason why the Space Corps is on the top there is so it can, like, hide behind a building and just hover there and kind of look up over the building like a periscope. And it'll laze targets for Apaches and Super Cobras and stuff. Yeah, that's for cutting power lines. So you could, like, you go through, you cut, like, a power line, right? So you can sit there and laze a target. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. That should tell you everything you need to know about how ridiculous that is. Pretty cool. All right. Next news here is coming from up at the ISS. So this morning, Sergei Ryzhikov and Shannon Walker reported an alarm about a fire and depressurization on the ISS to their mission control centers. Fortunately, as they soon discovered, it was a false alarm. And then here's a follow-up tweet by Anik here. A couple of hours ago, it turned out that a charged particle, literally a radiation hit, got into the electronics unit at Crew Dragon. This triggered a false fire and depressurization alarm, and the ISS alarm system responded. The unit was restarted and working fine. Literally, turn it off and turn it back on again. Cool. And in front of one. Yeah, it's got a Hellfire on it. You see the Hellfire missile on the left? Thomas, yikes. Okay. If you missed the power line, yeah. Nah, it's not going to end well, right? That's right. Vanguard. Mm-hmm. The guy always has golden information. It's just some dude. Some dude that's got a picture of Gagarin's start. And the other Soyuz pad. What is that, Site 36? Interesting. Okay. That's going to do it for the Russian news today. We're going to keep going. Just a couple of bridge things here. Check this one out. So the Event Horizon Scope. For the first time, EHT scientists have mapped the magnetic fields around a black hole using polarized light waves. With this breakthrough, we have taken a crucial step into solving one of astronomy's greatest mysteries. Oh, look. Black holes have magnetic fields. That's literally a wormhole. Okay. Site 31-6. Presumably it works there, but I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah. Clayton, nothing. There was a false alarm. One of the sensors malfunctioned. Yeah. It's just a black hole. Someone used a Photoshop filter on it. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't it have a magnetic field? Actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, wouldn't black holes... magnetic fields be really, 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 really strong? Huh. Strongest in the universe. You know what my mind just defaulted to? Can we use that as a power source? Can we use it as a power source? Real ultimate power! Can we use that? The hell with solar panels. Can we figure out, like, the opposite of solar panels and use those? Have you heard of Isaac Arthur? Yeah, I know he talks all about that stuff. Why would it have a magnetic field? It doesn't have an iron core nor plasma. It's density. Density. You know, it has, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that one, actually. That's a good point. Frickin' magnets. How do they work? Huh. I'm not too sure making a self-sustaining black hole on Earth is a great idea. Just do it on the moon. It'll be fine. Huh. Well then. All right, next news. Did you know that do you know what the link is between the US Space Shuttle and the Airbus-built European Service Module, which will propel NASA's Artemis missions, returning humankind to the moon? Stay tuned for the answer in the comments section tomorrow. The first 5 European service modules will use refurbished shuttle engines to power humans back to the moon. One of these, from Space Shuttle Atlantis, has just been integrated into the second ESM at Airbus's cleanroom facility. This is a real challenge as space is really limited. Yeah, the European service modules are using Shuttle AJ-10-190s. Belongs in a museum. Yeah, you can get electrical current from a magnetic field. Yep. I don't know, Clayton. Maybe. AKA a Romulan warp core. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Ohms engine, spaceman. Interesting. Cool. Just cannibalized my space shuttle. So this is a piece of interesting news here. Skyrora. Skyrora is a UK-based launch vehicle developer. They're looking to launch out of Scotland. Let's see. We are delighted to announce we have signed an ESA boost contract of 3 million euros with the ESA, which will be put towards the completion of a Skyrora XL to help the UK become a launch nation. Check out the full article here. Okay, we go over here. A Scottish space company aims to be the first to launch from Europe, delivering UK sovereign launch capability. Scottish space rocket company Skyrora has received 3 million euro funding from the European Space Agency. Alright, anyway. Skyrora is a 23-meter, 56-ton, 3-stage rocket capable of carrying 315 kilograms into orbit. Yep, okay, okay. It's a small sat launcher. The vehicle is on course to be tested in 2022 from a UK spaceport. I'm a Scotsman. Oh, how are you, lad? Doing good. No, not Scatman. I'm the Scotsman. It's different, mate. Slightly bigger than Electron. Yeah. Huh. Volodymyr Levikin, the founder and CEO of Skyrora, said the ESA contract will accelerate our progress on its journey to be the first to achieve the UK's sovereign orbital launch. Huh. Oh, another Russian. Yeah. Volodymyr Levikin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not Scottish right there. Pretty sure that's not a Scottish name. Where do they fit in with Orbex in terms of timeline? Yeah, that's really interesting. You know what, Kim? I'm going to search that guy's name real quick. Interesting. Just remember, if you don't need your meat, you can't have any pudding. If the Scotsmen can do it, so can you. They're your local rocket company, Rush Shock, right? Right, yeah. I mean, I was going to use, it's a good rocket company, yeah, right? Yeah, it's good. It's a cool one, mate. Why do they reuse all the engines from the shuttles? Wouldn't it be better to start fresh? The idea is to keep businesses that make the parts for these, stay in business. Believe it or not, if the business stays, it's actually easier. Sometimes clean sheeting a design is not the right move. Sometimes. Yeah. Orbex got money from the ESA as well. Huh. I mean, Boom, I think it would be better to clean sheet a design sometimes, but honestly, it's used to keep those companies going, but also at the same time, when you're building super heavy lift, so when you're building something that's like as big as a Saturn V or SLS, right? It's better to go with what you know. The more things that you can make easier, like using stuff that you already have a lot of experience in using, like RS-25s, the better. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate seeing shuttle engines get wasted like this. That really, not wasted. Wasted meaning that they burn up. I hate it. But also, I'll trade that for people on the moon. That's fine. I'm a huge shuttle fan. I do not like the way the shuttle program went out. I think it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and it really pisses me off because it's a really good launch vehicle. But hey, that's kind of how it rolls. Could be worse. Could be not using them at all. And there could be no replacement, so. Yeah, Rocker Guy, I think that's a safe bet. ESA saw SpaceX's growth and said, oh crap, we should really start doing the same for launch to capture the growing $1.2 trillion U.S. $1.2 trillion industry for global space operations. Where are they stored right now? The shuttles or the shuttle parts? They're in the factories that are building SLS parts. Nova says it also has something to do with something called TRL, or technology readiness level. Going with something with a low TRL is not something you want to do because it takes a lot of dollars to get the development of that thing into use. Yeah, basically go with what you know, right? So TRLs is what those called. TRLs are what those are called. Chem, all right, so for all mankind, we're right after all. Shuttle parts will send people to the moon. Yet. To be honest, the shuttle was supposed to be placed, what, twice before it got retired? Yeah. Yeah, Clayton, that'd be nice. All right, so continuing with the UK space program here, check this out. The ESA, with the Space Government UK support, has awarded co-funding worth $10.45 million to two UK-based private launch operators, Orbex and Skyroar Limited. Okay, so we just talked about Skyroar, and then there's Orbex right there. That's okay. Huh. I lost count of the shuttle replacement programs after, I think, like 4. Owski, about the shuttle, have you seen the new Lego set? Oh, I've seen it, bud. Yeah, I want like every single one so I can make stickers and make like Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavor. Oh, you're here. Okay, boom. Check this out, buddy. Here, let's look at this. Technology readiness level. Let's see. Basic principles, technology concept or application formulated, analytical and experimental critical function, component and breadboard validation in a laboratory environment, component validation in a relevant environment, system, subsystem, model, or prototype demonstration in a relevant environment, ground or space. System prototype demonstration in a space environment. Actual system completed in flight qualified through test and demonstration. Actual system flight proven through successful mission operations. Cool. Where would you guys put Starship on this list as of right now, March 24th, 2020? I think Starship is either TRL 5 or 6. Component and or breadboard validation in a relevant environment. Yeah, they did, Zizep. 5 or 6. 6 would be subsystem, model, or prototype demonstration in a relevant environment, ground or space. It's between 5 and 6 right now. Rocky Guy, you say 5. Now, where's SLS? Where's SLS right now? You always round down? Yep. SLS is 4? 4? Guys, no, not even close. It's up at 8. SLS is at 8 right now. Actual system completed in flight qualified through test and demonstration. That's the green run. That's why it's green. It's right in the name. 0. Oh, man, come on now. -1. It's messed up, man. SLS is up at TRL 8. It's way up there. Artemis 1 will be TRL 9, and then we're good to go. This is what I mean. Has it flown to space? No. That... TRL NAN. Oh, gosh. System prototype demonstration in a space environment. That depends. If, like, Orion has done vacuum chamber testing, that's a space environment. Yeah, and parts of SLS have already been into space. That's right, Soapbox. The ESA's hopes and dreams are at TRL -1, 2, 3 because they don't exist. Ooh, TRL 9. It's a 9. Thanks, Novus. Actually, I'm going to save that picture because I will be using that later. Anyway. Okay, next bit of news. So this is coming from Normal News. And this footage is from National Geographic. Today marks 15 years since SpaceX first demonstrated a return to launch site landing with a Falcon vehicle.
2, 1, 0, +2, +3, +4. At the beginning of SpaceX, I'd originally thought, okay, I got enough money for 3 attempts.
It's yeah, okay. Oh. Yeah.
2, 1, 0, +1,
+2, +3, +4.
At the beginning of SpaceX, I'd originally thought, okay, I got enough money for 3 attempts.
Yeah. Yeah, note. Yeah, see that? That's the first attempt was just prototyping returning to the launch site. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't stick the landing though. But later they would. The return to launch site to Elon Musk is la 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 la. You will never get this. You'll never get this. La 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 la. But one day, Elon make rocket and he get this. He get this. It looks like SN9. Yes. Link is in the chat for that one. All right. So, we have a lot of SLS news today, believe it or not. I'm going to move all the pictures over here. Just give me a second. I got 4 more. So there's a lot of SLS news. So we'll pop into it in a second. I'm fairly confident that they're working on assembling the second SLS core stage here. So that's pretty neat. And a lot yesterday. 3-hour rocket talk. Yeah. See how easy it is to let it just kind of keep going. That's what these fools don't understand, Rocket Guy. Fools! Alright, anyway, we'll start off with a video here. Let's see what we got. So, watch technicians weld rocket stage adapter for first crew Artemis flight. So they're working on welding up the launch vehicle stage adapter, or LVSA. This is what adapts the SLS core stage to the Delta IV upper stage, the ICPS. Hey, look, a stir welder. Oh, boy. Cool. They're stir welding all the pieces together. You already discussed the NASA Common LEO Demonstration Program initiation. Negative. I've seen no news regarding that. At least they found it, Thomas. It's not a Dremel, Torg. That's a friction stir welder. So basically, on the end, you have a stirring tip right here, and what it does is the 2 sheets of aluminum are butted up against each other, and it, like, if these are the 2 sheets, like next to each other, it swirls them together. It uses friction and stirs the aluminum together, and it ends up welding it. The pieces of aluminum end up doing like this. So if these are the two edges, right, of the 2 panels, this thing goes over it, and it makes them do that. It makes them kind of, basically, it swirls it like if you were mixing up dough for a cake, right? You don't use dough for cakes, pizza. Same concept. That's welding. It creates so much friction that it heats it up and melds the 2 pieces together. Is that how SpaceX welds Starship? No. SpaceX does not use friction stir welds on Starship. They do for Falcon 9, though. We're welding pizza now. Yes, yes. What's the Delta V on your pizza? Yep, that's a stir welder right there. Yeah, wicked. We covered it. Mm-hmm. A skookumchucher. Yeah, yes, yes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do they weld Starship? Magnets. It's most likely a TIG weld, TIG and tip welding. You really can't MIG stainless steel very well. Just get those little pieces of aluminum off. That's cool. JLG boom lift. Don't hit it. Don't hit it. Very nice. Very nice, gantry crane. Awesome. Awesome. Also, in more SLS news, here we go. Yesterday's splash test was a success. The NASA Orion crew module will be making 3 more big splashes into our landing and impact research facility hydro impact basin. the LRFHIB over the next month. See more details. Oh, I will. Cool. Do the welds constitute weak points in the fuselage? Actually, stir welds are stronger. Well, no, that's actually, you know what? That's actually not 100% true, Jonas. Stir welding actually, the cool thing about stir welding is you're not getting a molecular change to the aluminum. What does that mean? So when you weld, I said the first part wrong, just completely disregard that. When you weld, like say you're MIG welding steel, the weld's actually the strongest part because the weld is made by a welding gun. The steel sheets weren't made by a welding gun. They were in a press, right? In either cold or hot rolled, right? So a weld molecularly, if you looked at a weld like through with an X-ray or something, like an X-ray of a MIG weld, and then you looked at an X-ray of like just a steel sheet, right? The molecules would be different. The thing about stir welding is that stir welding does not change the molecular structure of the aluminum in any way. That's why it's really good for using rockets, because it basically just melds the panels together, and molecularly it's all concurrent all the way around, and that makes it stronger. Will we get real footage of the Mars drone flying? Not sure if you covered this. We'll get footage of it flying, Duber. Yeah, absolutely. It has cameras on it. It just hasn't happened yet. Soon, though. Yeah, pretty cool. What's that, Vulcan? There appears to be whales in space. Yeah. So, yeah, they're doing more Orion water drop tests, which is cool. Engineers at Langley in Hampton, Virginia began a series of 4 water impact drop tests with a test version of the capsule for NASA's Orion spacecraft. The test data will help engineers better understand what Orion and its crew may experience when landing in the Pacific Ocean. Most excellent. Neat. That's a pretty cool picture. Wish we had some video, but hey, it is what it is. All right. So this is coming from Stephen Marr over at NASA Spaceflight here. Today, some media folks got a behind-the-scenes tour inside of the VAB, where SLS is being stacked. Hey. If NASA could have all the money they want, what do you think NASA would do, and what would you like NASA to do? NASA doesn't need all the money they want, Hornet. I'll be honest with you. NASA needs their budget to be about doubled with an aggressive schedule with good planning. Double the budget is all you need. Spaceflight isn't that expensive, to be honest with you. If the budget was doubled, yeah, just double, so it's $40 billion instead of 20, and just every department literally just got double. So the SLS program got double, like climate change and Earth observation got double. Yeah, it will exponentially make our return on investment for the science there work a lot better, especially when it comes to like SLS and stuff. Yeah, especially. If NASA's budget was doubled, we could do literally everything that we want to do in terms of climate science and observation, going back to the moon, and a healthy and robust Mars program. Like, instead of doing that like 20 years down the road, we could like start planning that and do that like right now. Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't need unlimited money. Unlimited money would create waste. Believe it or not, overfunding and underfunding projects is very bad for them. That's That's really bad for it. So you don't want unlimited money because then nothing would get done ever. You don't want to underfund it either because then nothing will get done ever. Yeah, you have to hit it right in the mean. You know, and it's a nominal range there. So you don't. It's hard to the trouble here, and this is why, you know, people are like, oh, this is too expensive, is that you don't know how much programs are going to cost out of the box. How do you know how much a Saturn V? How did they know how much a Saturn V was going to cost in 1961 when the Apollo program started? There's no way to know. There's no way to know until you build something, and then you can mimic a price, which is why I think it's funny that people say, oh, SLS is reported to cost this much money. Yeah, okay. Sure. Yes, let's incorporate development costs into the rocket's launch price tag. That's real smart. Man, if we did that with everything, airplane prices would be like 3 times the price of what they are. What about more construction of VABs? Why do we need of high bays? High bays, of course, yes. In my opinion, SLS. So like, you want to know what I would do, Hornet? And I'll be very quick about this. NASA's VAB, the big building that they use to make the Saturn V's and the space shuttles, it has 4 bays in it. It can build 4 rockets at once. Here's what I would do. I would have an SLS launching every 3 months to the moon. Every 3 months for the next 5 years. Build up a healthy and robust moon base over time. So, and that would be 20 SLS cores, right? We have 3 in the pipeline right now. Well, 2.5 if you really want to be technical. Okay? So, 20 SLS cores, all the appropriate missions for that. A second mobile launcher. Actually, you would need 4 mobile launchers. So, I would build a second one out of the box, and then the year after that, I'd probably build a third one. The year after that, I'd build a 4th one. I would build another pad for SLS with we're talking double the money now, right? I would build another pad, so we have 2 SLS pads for redundancy for the program. 2 mobile launchers right off the bat. So we'll use the one that we have now for Block 1 launches in case we just need to send crew out there. And then the other 3 mobile launchers would be for the SLS with the EUS, which is its uprated upper stage. And then from there, I would literally have, so you have 4 bays inside of the VAB. I would refurbish CT1, which is the second crawler transport, because they're going to be doing work. Build pad 39C, which would be a carbon copy of 39B in a clean pad configuration. And yeah, an SLS would go off every 3 months to the moon. On top of 39A being used for commercial crew. Yeah, that's what I would do. If NASA's budget was doubled, that's all doable. Yeah, that's very doable. Easily doable. We're talking an extra $20 billion here per year. And even if like $5 billion of that per year went to the SLS program, you could do all that. Sure, no problem. The thing about NASA, Hornet, is that you have to buy in bulk. If you don't buy in bulk, you're not going to... Rockets are complicated to make. They're complicated one-off things. If you buy more of them, just like if you go to Walmart and buy more of whatever, more toilet paper, the price is going to go down. That's why Walmart is so popular, because it's inexpensive, because you buy in bigger quantities. Rockets work the exact same way, dude. The more rockets we buy, the price goes down over time. It's simple economics here, dude. Yeah, Signer, the BOLE program and the RS-25E program and the EUS could all get funding. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. The implications of this are pretty huge. NASA is planning to turn over low Earth orbit operations to commercial industry so they can focus on Artemis and the moon. Program will be modeled after CRS and commercial crew. They want to create the low Earth orbit commercial spaceflight market for the long term. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Development costs are recouped over the life of any commercial program. I would argue that government programs don't need to turn a profit, but still benefit from economies of scale. Yeah, Entropy, the return is the science and understanding of knowing how to work on the moon. That's the return. But yeah, I mean, you don't run NASA like a business. Most government programs are designed to operate at a loss. Now, whether you think that's right or not, I don't know. I don't really care. NASA, you know what the funny thing about that is, Entropy? NASA is a program that's supposed to operate at a loss, but it doesn't. You know why? Because all the people that created this rockets, technicians, engineers, so they could go out and feed their children, not their children grow up big, strong, and so on and so forth, thus adding to the great chain of life. In reality, entropy, you and I are in the same business. Cheers. Oh, look at all these little rockets. So busy now. Like, look at it. It's got a little ballet going on. Now, think about all the people that created them. Technicians, engineers. I mean, it's true. Hey, Zorg was a jerk, but he wasn't wrong. He just did business with the wrong people. He's just misunderstood. Love watching these conversations in 2021. Should have been happening 45 years ago. We'd probably be on Mars right now. Just saying. No, keep saying it, Robert. It's important to tell people this. What was that reference? Fifth Element? Multipass. Fire 1 million. But 500,000. Alright, sir. Sorry to have disturbed you. Tell you what I do like, though. A killer. A die-in-the-wool killer. Cold-blooded, methodical, maniacal, and thorical. Now, a real killer, when he picked up ZF-1, would have immediately asked about the little red button on the bottom of the gun. Yeah, she knows it's a multi-pass. Anyway, we're in love. All right. Anyway, going back to Steven's pictures over here. That's pretty awesome. They got it. He got up on the mobile launcher. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, we have more. Okay, that's Dave saying the LVSA for Artemis 2 has finished welding. Sweet. And also, SLS engineers have begun work on putting the second core stage together. That's the intertank. For the second core stage. This is part of an operation called the Forward Join. Oh, baby. Zorg as a protagonist is Lord of War. Huh. Huh. Oh, interesting, Airborne. It is, chap. Dude, it's what I've always said. SLS is a big old rocket. It's a big old rocket. Everybody that says, oh, SLS is a piece of junk, they become the biggest cheerleaders when the tests go right. Just look at what happened during the green run. And I'll tell you, look at what's going to happen. Look at what's going to happen during Artemis 1 when that launches. We're less than a year out from that. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I never doubted you for a second. They're going to go C-3PO on us. It's true. Yep. There they are moving the intertank. We're watching this in backwards order. No, Artemis 2 will transport people. This rocket, the one that you're seeing right here. Oh, hello. Hello. Whoosh. Nice. Hey, how you doing? Awesome. Is there any justification on the core stage being so expensive and delayed? Tough question, chap. Yes, there is, but it's not the SLS program's fault, to be honest with you. You could sit there and play the blame game. You could play, oh, it's this person's fault, this person's fault. Honestly, this is a byproduct of terrible spaceflight policy. Yeah. Terrible spaceflight policy. Yeah. So, SLS is a replacement rocket for the Constellation program, which got canceled in 2011. It got canceled with no direct replacement. And we kind of have like a watered down version of it with Artemis. I almost said Artemis. Oops. So we got rid of it under the guise of saving money, chap. So people then were literally saying the exact same things that people are saying now. Constellation is too expensive. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. So they canceled it, and guess what replaced it? A watered down version that's also too expensive. You know what that tells me? Spaceflight is expensive, especially if the government does it in-house. Now, I firmly believe that NASA should have in-house rockets to be able to get to the moon, and also commercial rockets that can be able to get to the moon. The more rockets you have trying to go to the moon, the better it's going to be for us as a spacefaring species. I never understood the argument of people saying that SLS is bad because it's too expensive when there's no alternative to it currently flying. Now, we could sit here and you could say, but Starship, and I agree with you. I love Starship. I want it to fly. SLS is a lot closer to flying in, like, people on it into space, right? On like an actual NASA mission to the moon than Starship is. Way, 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 way closer. With that being said, I also want Starship to work. And then with that being said, on top of that, I don't want one or the other. I want both of them because I'm greedy. And we are in a very unique position right now where we can have not one way to get to the moon, but two, and possibly three if other rockets come around. Yeah. So long story short, canceling rockets under the guise of saving money never ends well. We did that with the space shuttle. We did that with the Saturn V, which ironically the space shuttle replaced. And we made that mistake with Constellation as well. Let's not make that mistake again. So yeah, long story short, stuff is expensive. It's expensive. It's very expensive. It always will be. It's space flight. It's dangerous. Government can't be seen hurting people in space. That's a very, very bad idea. Let's spend the money now, get the development done right, and actually have a functioning moon rocket. Because the more we launch it, the more we'll recoup that development price, like Entropy said. So yeah, there is justification. Absolutely. I don't understand people saying that NASA should be saving money. NASA's not a business. NASA is not a business. Why are we trying to run it like a business? I don't buy it. I'm not buying what people that say that are selling. That's a really stupid idea. That's going to get people killed. And before you say, oh, EJ, that's just your opinion, that's fine. Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan agree with me because when Constellation got canceled, that's exactly what they said. They said that not having a healthy and robust in-house space program is going to cost us in the long run. And it pretty much has. We didn't launch somebody into space from the U.S. for like 10 years. Yeah, they were right. It's almost like the first and last guy that walked on the moon knew what they were talking about when it comes to setting up a space program correctly. Curious. Also, they shorted funding on the space shuttle in the 70s. They shorted funding on the space shuttle. And that led to rush development, and that led to... So yeah, let's not do that. Let's not repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, that's a bad idea. NASA does things that wouldn't be profitable to private business. Correct. That's just like your opinion, man. No, honestly, chap, it comes down to one thing, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you wanted less rockets launching into space. That's funny. Why save money? It has a budget. Spend it. Exactly, Kith. I don't understand why people want a government program to be profitable all of a sudden. They literally don't do that with any other federal or state program. Like, it's very rare that a Rule 8 program turns a profit, and I understand the reasons why. Like, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or anything. I'm not remarking on how it's set up or anything. It's just, it's interesting that everybody, like, usually the folks that are for more programs in the government say that NASA should be run like a business. It's the oddest thing. It's strange. But anyway, chap, yeah, of course there is. Yeah, it's expensive now. That doesn't mean it's going to be expensive later. There you go, McDover. Exactly. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's keep going. So we got through most of the space news. Those SLS pictures are great, Novus. Really, really good. Chap, did that answer your question? I try to go a little bit above and beyond when I answer these questions, and I try to anticipate what the next questions will be and give a long spiel to kind of keep the conversation going. So if that was more than what you asked, sorry, I do that sometimes. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry because it's right. And we need more rockets in space, not less. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. NASA's a business. Its job is to get people to the moon, but it needs adequate funding to get there. So NASA is a business. That's incorrect. Its job is getting people to the moon. That's correct. And it needs adequate funding to get there. That's also correct. Yeah, Ford, it's something like that. I'm not going to get into the reasons why. It's just a curious thing. Curious thing that I noticed. Relativity Space is targeting the fall-winter this year, their first launch of their Terran 1 rocket from Slick 16 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Cool. It's a ways out, Foxtrot. It's a ways out. Yeah, absolutely. So, Rocket Guy, what's this? What do you got here? NASA seeks industry input on future commercial destinations in low Earth orbit. NASA is seeking industry input as the agency continues to refine and update its strategy to enable a robust economy in low Earth orbit. Commercial destinations in low Earth orbit are an important element of that strategy. NASA has announced its updated plan to ensure continuous human presence in low Earth orbit through commercial low Earth orbit destinations. Through the Commercial Low Earth Orbit Destinations Project. CLEOD. C-L-E-O-D. CLEOD. Or CLD project. The agency's goal is a low Earth orbit marketplace where NASA is one of many customers and the private sector leads the way. Okay? NASA wants to focus on the moon, long story short. They want to focus on BLEO, Beyond Low Earth Orbit. I know, the names are very, very, very creative. There's low Earth orbit, and then there's Beyond Low Earth Orbit. Buzz. All right. Okay. NASA is adopting a two-phase strategy that builds on the successful legacy of its commercial cargo and commercial crew programs that are now delivering important research supplies and astronauts to the ISS. In the first phase, NASA will pursue multiple funded Space Act agreements for early concept and development of commercial destinations. In the second phase, NASA intends to purchase destination services when such services become available for purchase. NASA estimates the agency's future and needs in low Earth orbit will require accommodations and training for 2 crew members continuously and the ability to perform approximately 200 investigations annually to support human research, technology demonstrations, biological and physical science, and the national lab. Okay. NASA will draft announcement proposals in April for industry feedback, then expects to issue the final announcement in May with the Space Act Agreement awards made in the first quarter of the fiscal year 2022 and execution of the agreements through fiscal year 2025. Phase 1 will facilitate development of safe, reliable, and cost-effective commercial low Earth orbit destinations and enable industry to mature design concepts when NASA matures potential safety, certification, and service requirements for Phase 2. Okay, Thomas. When is HLS getting announced? Should be sometime this month. The strategy will prove services the government needs at a lower cost, enabling the agency to focus on its Artemis missions to the Moon and Mars while continuing to use low Earth orbit as a training and proving ground for those deep space missions. Excellent. Excellent. So, that's a good idea. You want to start looking into this now because you don't want to have a gap in capability. NASA wants to keep commercial crew going and commercial resupply going for a long time, right? So they get a good return on investment for low Earth orbit, but not be the anchor destination in low Earth orbit. So basically, they're going to have commercial ISS. Right now is basically they're going to the industry and saying, if you were going to make a commercial research laboratory in space for astronaut training, how would you do it? That's basically what they're doing there. That's good. You want the foresight here for this. You want to start planning this now. The reason why you want to start planning this now is because you're not out of low Earth orbit now, but you will be when NASA starts sending people back to the moon. Now, it would be wise to start planning a program now so you have a replacement once NASA stops operating the ISS sometime in the future. You want to have a replacement program right up and running and just seamlessly transition to that new program. Another mistake we made during Constellation, but I digress. NASA programs work on a bell curve, basically. The program starts, funding goes through the roof because developing anything to use in space, climate satellites, space stations, spacecraft, it's all expensive. It peaks at development, and once it moves to operational missions, the funding goes down here. But what you want to do is, as one program ramps up, another program ramps down. That way, you keep the funding correct. I've drawn out diagrams for this before. Here. So it works kind of like this. So you are here, commercial crew program. You want Artemis missions. Then when the Artemis development goes down, which it pretty much should start to go down very soon once Artemis 1 flies, you want to ramp up another project. So a moon base or operations to go to Mars. And then once that one goes down, then you start going to Mars and you ramp up another program. It should work kind of like three-phase AC current, like electricity. Like here, hang on. I'll get you a diagram. Here, NASA funding and NASA programs should work like this, exactly like three-phase alternating current. This is what's used. This is the kind of current and the type of electrical that you'd use for like industrial. The idea is that you never have an interruption in electrical power. If you just have one-phase alternating current, right, you'll have dips in power. SpaceX going to pitch a Starship-based station? Maybe. It's possible. How did NASA go from the Saturn family to the space shuttle? Surely they're completely different, and how did they afford that? Chap, they said the Saturn V was too expensive, and we need to replace it with something that would bring the cost down. And a reusable spacecraft will bring the cost down. Does this sound familiar? History repeats itself, man. I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Hey, Skyhook, 37-month resub. It's called Innovation Horizon Planning. Oh, cool. I didn't know it had a name. Yeah, chap, they said the Saturn V and the lunar program was too expensive. I don't want to get too far into it because we have to... we have work to do in KSP, and so Space News is going to go for about 15 more minutes. All right, so check this out. Everybody's looked at this graph before. If you've looked at anything about NASA, you're interested in NASA in any way, shape, or form. Check this out. Budget. Look. NASA's budget as a percentage of the federal budget. So we started ramping up right here. These small jumps right here are not perfectly they're not perfect like this, right? It's kind of a crazy crash course here. What you're seeing here is two programs stacked on top of each other. There's Apollo and Gemini. NASA was operating basically two spacecraft at the same time. And as Gemini funding started to go down in 65, right? Apollo's bell curve peaked right after that, right?
Discovery, go at throttle.
That's why you see a slight overlap right here, and it goes up. That's the peak for the Gemini and Apollo program, right? And then that's the peak for the Gemini program. That's the peak for the Apollo program. Chap, look at what year that's in. Let's go down here. 1966. NASA's funding was already starting to go down in 1966, 3 years before they even bothered going to the moon. Well, not bothered. 3 years before they even went to the moon. Look at 1969. NASA's budget had already been halved from there. Why? Programs work on a bell curve. You're seeing the bell curve here from Apollo. So 1972, right here, NASA was doing operational missions. Okay? They were already doing operational missions. They'd gone to the moon 6 times. Well, 7 times. Well, 9 if you include Apollo 8, 10, and 13, right? By 1972, right? That tells me right here that NASA's budget, if it followed the bell curve, right? And then they shorted it in 74 because stupid. If it followed the bell curve instead of developing the space shuttle, we could still operate the Saturn V like this. And you would have seen the bell curve. Now, what they were trying to do, what von Braun was trying to do, and NASA at the time, was trying to get another program to ramp up called the Apollo Applications Program, or AAP for short. They tried, nobody bought it. This one is much better. It's normalized by inflation. Yeah, normalized by inflation, but completely missing the point of what I'm trying to tell you, but that's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter if you look at this one or this one, K-Mare. You could still see what I'm talking about. I don't know why this is normalizing it by inflation is even relevant. It shows the same data. But, I mean, yeah, if you want to look at this one, if this is the one that makes you feel better, sure. It's pretty irrelevant, even regarding inflation. These programs work on bell curves. All right. And ideally, in the end, the bell curve, the end point of the bell curve is slightly higher than the beginning, right? Because you still need to operate it. But operating a rocket and launching a rocket, launching operations, and is nowhere near the development costs. So we canceled it under the guise of money, which is dumb. That was stupid. Really stupid, actually. Yeah, that was a bad idea. And said that we could do it better with a rocket that couldn't go as far into space, the space shuttle, right? Yeah, it's literally the exact same thing that people are saying now about SLS, chap. Yeah, and this is where I come up with my opinions. I base them off of stuff like this, you know? What happened in 74? I genuinely don't know. Oil crisis. Oil crisis. All day. That's right, Toothless. Yeah, we did the opposite of that in the 1970s, which is just dumb. And then we spent more money developing a space shuttle. And I'm saying that as a space shuttle fan. I love the space shuttle. But if I had the choice between keeping Apollo going or using that, I would choose Apollo every day of the week. Because honestly, you want to hear the dirty secret? It's probably cheaper. Yeah, it's probably cheaper. Why would you why would you want to waste research and development on that? You could keep the cost down on Apollo if you just operate it. Literally just keep the production lines that you spent years and billions of dollars setting up. Billions of dollars in the 60s, I might add. Just keep operating those. Hello? Well, what happened in the 1980s, Bill, is because they shorted NASA on funding. They literally... They inadvertently, it's not literally, they inadvertently did exactly what a hedge fund would do, shorting a stock. They underfunded NASA through the shuttle's development. What happens if you short a stock? Shorting is basically planning on failing, right? They shorted the space shuttle's R&D. So the space shuttle's bell curve, which should have looked like this, looked like this. It was flat. The shuttle's R&D, shuttle's bell curve, right? You set it up, right? Shuttle's bell curve should have looked like this. Right? Shuttle's bell curve looks something like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah, see this part? Yeah, whoever made that decision right there is directly responsible for killing 14 astronauts. Yeah. Yeah, right there. That's very much my opinion. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's very much my opinion. But yes, this right here, no good. Do you want to see how Constellation's funding went? So Constellation came around in 2004. They started ramping it up. 2007, 2008 comes around. The recession happens. This is where you need it to go. Canceled. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Yeah, go. I mean, you can go look at this, guys, if you want to go. If you want to go see it, the reports are there. Yeah, funny how that works. They shorted it, and then shocked Pikachu face when it failed. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's way. It's the program is underperforming. We got to cancel it to save money. Interesting, huh? Yeah. So I see people saying that same nonsense with SLS nowadays, and I say, oh, yep, that you're falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. It's a really bad idea. Shouldn't do that. Yeah, Venture Star 2. Got your last. What's up, Vasia? Starship News. Oh, whoa. That's awesome. You need a whiteboard? Yeah, I know, right? Can you do James Webb's funding curve? James Webb is a byproduct of scope creep, LQ2, so it doesn't really work exactly like that. But yeah, James Webb's funding looks like an EKG. Beep, beep, beep. How does the cost of launching the same amount of mass via Saturn V compare to launching it on multiple space shuttles? Angry, I don't want to get too far into it because we have to, I want to play KSP. Long story short, it's, if you launch this Saturn V, putting payload into orbit the same amount of times that you launch a shuttle, that entirely depends on shuttle launch frequency. So if the shuttle can put it, the Saturn V can move what, 120 metric tons into space? How many shuttle launches would that be? 5. That would be 5 shuttle launches. If the time it takes to prepare Saturn V, which during the Apollo program was about 2 to 3 months to build it in the VAB, roll it out, and launch it. If you could do 5 shuttle launches in that amount of time, then it makes sense, right? But it really comes down to how quickly the shuttle's operating. This is just market economics here, which is ironic because it's hard to. I say NASA shouldn't be run like a business, but I mean, there are some economic cases to be made, but you have to remember the end goal isn't always about profit, okay? To me, NASA's end goal is how much science you get per dollar, right? And it's really, 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 really difficult to quantify that because you can't put a price on scientific understanding of things. You can't do that. I don't think you can. I think science and understanding our place in the universe is invaluable. It helps everyone down here. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why I have a real problem with people trying to run NASA like a business. There's nothing wrong with NASA getting a better deal on things. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't like people trying to make deals with NASA under the guise of having, oh, you can do it for cheaper if you do commercial. You don't need the funding anymore. No. The idea is that you have lower operating costs for like low Earth orbit, for instance, because of commercial partners, and that way you can use that money to go to the moon. I don't mind that. That's fine. But saying that, we can save money by canceling programs is... Yeah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I talk about it literally every day. It's... Because I'm sorry, like, I won't stop beating that drum. I'll die on this hill. Anybody that tries to run NASA like a business is an idiot. Like, we're operating this program at a loss, so we can't operate it anymore. If that was the case, every single climate monitoring satellite that we operate should not be flying because every single one of them operates at a loss. But I don't want to sit here and not monitor the atmosphere and have some cataclysmic event, either man-made or not, happen and not know what the frick to do. See what I mean? That's a dumb argument to make. Anyway, I'm loading up KSP now, and we'll go from there. All right, we have lunar lander testing. This is mission mode, part 111. Or is it 112? I'll just put 112. All right, guys, we got to get that lunar lander onto the surface today. That's going to take 2 launches in mission mode. Yeah, Duber, that... Yeah, no, I'm good with it. I'm good without doing that.